Established in 1933, Nissan was a pioneer in the automotive manufacturing industry. 60 years later, annual production was at 2.4 million units, and its global market share was 4.9%. During the 1990s, Nissan's performance began to decline. It had lost money for 6 out of 7 consecutive years, its sales and share prices dropped, and it had a debt load of $19.7 billion US. Appreciation of the yen, a global recession, and fierce global competition hit all of the Japanese car manufacturers hard. However, Nissan was also struggling with many internal issues. These included its investment in the Keiretsu partnerships, where it had limited managerial control, no product development for 9 years, and a lack of a shared vision amongst its management team. To address its challenges, Nissan implemented a variety of strategic, cultural, and operational changes. The strategic changes include mobilizing cross-functional teams and the diversification and renewal of its product range. Cultural changes include new management, reduced hierarchy levels, the Renault-Nissan culture exchange, and empowering lower levels in the organization. Finally, operationally, they introduced the Keiretsu killer. They also reduced SG&A and supplier numbers, and aggregated their plants and platforms. For each change area, we have identified a measure that, in our opinion, best demonstrates Nissan's agility. These will now be discussed.
Following the Nissan-Renault alliance, Carlos Ghosn was appointed as Chief Operating Officer of Nissan. Japanese behavioral norms and long-standing organizational practices were slashed within a month of Carlos arriving. Hierarchy and functional focus were abolished under his leadership as 9 cross-functional teams were established. These teams cut across the organization, covering from research and development to organizational structure to product complexity. Together, these 9 teams addressed each of the organization's key drivers of performance. Teams were tasked with identifying and spearheading radical change across the 9 drivers, delivering a revival blueprint. The approach was analogous to Formula One and required similar agility, continually braking and accelerating within short intervals in order to consider both the short-term and long-term respectively. Carlos understood the threat of a potential culture clash between both companies, and if this was not addressed or if team members treated each other disrespectfully, this organization was bound to collapse. Therefore, Carlos invested heavily in cross-culture training programs. He assigned 1,500 and 400 executives from Renault and Nissan respectively to a program to learn more about the other businesses' culture. Nissan displayed operational agility through their bold step to eliminate the Keiretsu partnerships. Keiretsu partnerships are a Japanese tradition of holding minority stakes in partner companies. When Carlos joined the company, Nissan had $4 billion tied up in Keiretsu investments. Carlos immediately started dismantling these investments. Despite widespread fears that the sell-offs would damage relationships with suppliers, those relationships became stronger than ever. Suppliers didn't care about Nissan's stake in their companies as long as they were still customers. In fact, they seemed to have benefited from Nissan's divestments. As a result of the sell-off, the suppliers delivered price reductions that Nissan demanded and have become stronger partners of the company.
As the data shows, Nissan was able to achieve extremely significant improvements in its performance, even by 2001, just 2 years from starting its revival plan. For example, it increased operating margins by nearly 300%. It also increased its operating profit more than 400-fold. Finally, it reduced debt by over 40%. Following the success of the first phase of the plan, a second phase was established. Nissan has grown from strength to strength, and is today considered to be one of the healthiest automotive manufacturers in the world. Achieving strategic agility requires breaking with tradition and being open to unconventional ideas.